So the lesson here is stock toilet paper and stock paper towels, because you know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks.
A lot, Shu.
Shu, are you trying to cause panic buying?
Yes.
Oh,
Is this market manipulation again? Did you buy a bunch of toilet paper and you want to sell it on the black market?
the first part is true.
Second part yet to be seen.
Oh, we don't
I might
want
need it.
conversation, Shu.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Mhm.
Welcome to another episode of Bourbon and Data Breaches, where we cover 5 of the most interesting data breaches from this last week and one of our favorite bourbons. I'm Steve.
Divya.
I'm Shu.
And Lucas.
Okay, great. Well, we made it to 2022. Divya, what has happened so far?
Okay, so the first story of this year, AvosLocker ransomware uses AnyDesk in safe mode to launch attacks, Sophos reports. Sophos, a global leader in next generation cybersecurity, today released a new research about AvosLocker ransomware, saying that, in safe mode, they can launch attacks. So what do you guys have to say about this?
From a technical perspective, AvosLocker is pretty well known. I think they tried to make it a big headline by saying it works in safe mode, and that's not that difficult. I mean, safe mode's not going to protect you from everything. So it was interesting, it's clever, but don't rely on safe mode to be your protection.
So I liked this story for a completely different reason. I liked how AvosLocker is using the same DevOps tools that everyone else is using, right? Like they're not running like hacker screen grab 2021. They're running off the shelf DevOps tools. And I think that's great because it begs the question, are they also running like GitHub? Are they doing code check-ins and code reviews? Are they doing like sprint planning for their next version of ransomware? I see this as proof that ransomware gangs are just corporations and they use the same tools that we do.
I'm having a hard time because I don't know the company, but I do get some questions, like some technical questions. If this has been running so long, like Shu said, why wouldn't they, they realize that there was a backdoor at first? How would they know when it pops up?
Well, I think to answer your question, AnyDesk is legitimate software. It's just being used by a criminal enterprise, right? So you think, oh, I'm going to use antivirus or anti-malware, and that's going to prevent ransomware. But if AvosLocker uses the same tools that DevOps do, then you can't block them.
Right. So they basically install a backdoor accidentally.
No, they install a backdoor on purpose, but they're installing a backdoor that very well could be the same DevOps tools that are being used internally. It's very the great part of the story is that we see that hackers are not using big scary hacking tools. They're just using regular software for for fraud. So
I can't believe it anyway. I didn't think that this would happen with so many firewalls and security already protocols in place. That's really odd, especially in this last year.
Yep.
All right, guys, for the next story, we have ransomware group claims successful hack of Broomfield cybersecurity firm. The ransomware group Ragnar Locker spread claims of a successful hack of telecom analytics firm Subex and its Broomfield-based cybersecurity subsidiary. What do you guys have to say about this story?
Let's see. This is reported on Ragnarok's disclosure site.
Mhm.
Did you guys see this? I assume we saw this.
Yeah, I mean it's in Hack Notice.
Yeah.
I don't remember looking at this one in particular, but yeah.
That's kind of embarrassing for them. You're a security company, firewall company, and they got ransomware.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also pretty concerning, right?
Mhm.
Because what can you do with that? You can take any code base and you can start finding 0 days in it. You can
Yeah.
potentially build a backdoor in the code base. You can find all the clients. Like, it's just a great launching off platform for further attacks. So it's pretty concerning.
Yeah, I think the thing would, I mean, even beyond that, I would assume that, or I would guess, not really assume, that they left some kind of presence in their network. They're a security company, you're in there, you ransomware things, why not just stay in there?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, ransomware, they want the ransom to be paid, but if they were going to just infiltrate and stay, then they would have done it quietly, right? Like, there's a bunch of companies that are already hacked and they don't know they're hacked because hackers are not holding them for ransom. They're just waiting or doing additional hacks. Kind of like SolarWinds. SolarWinds had hackers in there for quite some time, trying to infiltrate even further. With this, they're holding them for ransom. So clearly they did all they were going to do. Now they just want to get paid.
We hope, because you're right, because they
Allegedly.
were both right. I mean, yeah, there could be a lot more damage to this that we don't know about yet.
But it destroys their reputation anyway, right? Being a cybersecurity company and having breached.
It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, there were, and like Ragnar, apparently, like the article mentions that they're trying to embarrass the company, and they condemn Sectrio for their inability to protect their own network. And they put it on their wall of shame, which was kind of pretty cool. But yeah,
Horrible. That's pretty horrible.
it's very sad. And it's not ironic at all. But yeah, that is the scoop on this one. Any comments about this story?
No, I mean, we're looking at how many gangs now? 50, 60. I don't know how many started last year with, but I'm going to go with about half that number. So we have 3 different Ragnar related gangs. There's Ragnarok, there's Ragnar, there's Ragnar Locker. So we're just seeing cybercrime explode.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah. That doesn't seem too popular in here. I haven't heard so much of this story, so it is kind of new for us, but it seems like happens very often, isn't it?
Yeah, it's happening all the time. Well, you may not hear a high frequency of stories, but there was a hacker that stole all of Argentine's data, like all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so your data has been stolen.
And sold in private circles.
And it's been stolen recently. So maybe it's not been stolen multiple times, but it has been stolen very, very recently. So,
I've already posed as you. I've already posed as Miguel. I've already posed as Ario. I've used all your identities already.
Feel free to use it. I think you've seen that video, yeah, of the Argentinian government breach.
Good times.
All right. I think it's time for a bourbon break. And today's bourbon, starting out the year right with Two Stars. Two Stars is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey from Jefferson County, Louisville, Kentucky. It's 86% proof, and it's distilled, aged, and bottled by the Clear Springs Distilling Company. And I have no idea who they are. Have you heard of Clear Springs, Shu?
I have not.
So this was an impulse buy. I was walking down the bourbon aisle and I saw Two Stars, and I said, let's try that. I think it actually was on a list of bourbons to try. I'm going to use that as my justification.
Is that
But
the list?
it was cheap. I don't remember how cheap, but it was not expensive. And it was a Kentucky straight bourbon, so wanted to go ahead and try it. Divya's got a little bit more detail about it. You want to tell us about it?
Okay, you guys, so Two Stars Bourbon. I went on the Total Wine website and
47.
yes.
No.
Mhm, mhm.
No, it was like 20.
Well, was it half off because of New Year's or something?
No.
Were you at Specs? You must have been at Specs.
I was at Specs, yeah. I
Okay.
don't know anything about $48. That's a whole lot of something.
Yeah. So you guys, anyway, Total Wine says that it's aged a minimum of 4 years. Two Stars Bourbon is actually named as a tribute to the municipal flag of Louisville, Kentucky. So it's not the brand's rating. As you can see, it's 3.9 over here. A better,
Wait, so is it even from Kentucky?
yes.
Oh, it's got that fucking Spirits Direct tag, dude. Oh man, that's your problem right there.
Well,
That's the lesson I learned with Red Blooded.
okay. So a better, like, I mean, it says that they have a rich tawny amber hue.
Oh, that's the big ball. It's 48 for 1.75 liters.
Ah, okay.
No, this is smaller.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah. Well, they say that it has a lean, woody aroma, dry character, and warming finish, and it's a Kentucky bourbon, gold medal, in SF Spirits competition. I also would like to share that I did have to do like some research as to finding out where exactly this bourbon was made. And it turns out it's at Barton 1792, which is also a subsidiary of, I believe, Clear Springs. So what are your thoughts and comments on this bourbon?
Sure. So I've been drinking Two Star in a highball, and it's good. It's fine. It's perfectly fine in a highball. I have also tried it straight, but I'll have some right now. So it's
3.9 out of 5 stars or not?
it's a little sweet, not much going on the nose, quite a bit of alcohol. It's semi-sweet, it's got an alcohol burn, sort of single flavor, kind of a long finish. I wouldn't say it's corny. I would say, oaky. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's good for sipping. Because there's not much going on, right? It's fine. It's bourbon. It is not offensive. It's got some burn to it. It's not like a finished like 4-year, 8-year age. And it's great for mixing. So the joke is that I've been considering this to be appropriate advertising. I would actually give it 2 stars, right? Like I wouldn't go out of my way to buy it. For $20, it was fine. I've had way worse that have cost way more. So I would have to agree. 2 stars.
2 stars out of 5.
It says right there 2 stars. What do you expect?
Yeah,
We
it's
warned you.
stars out of 5. Yeah, like
okay, because
Yeah,
if it's
This is an okay bourbon. It's $20. It's 2 stars.
yeah, it is bourbon, and it is not offensive in any way. And I think 2 stars is perfectly fine. If you went to a bar and got their bourbon, they gave you 2 stars, you're not going to be upset.
Mm,
You're like, yes, this is bourbon. Thank you.
great song.
It's a 2-star bourbon.
Just straightforward. That's it.
It's a 2-star bourbon.
It's 2 stars for 2022, so it all makes sense and lines up.
Now, special thank you to our sponsors. 2 stars. 2 stars, a great bourbon. Go ahead and get
Actually, 5 stars
it.
2 stars. It's a 2-star bourbon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
what you expect.
That's
You
a
know, if
good
you're
one.
disappointed, it's on you, okay? I warned you.
All right, guys, let's move on to story number 3. So this is stories from here on forth are going to be very spicy and crazy. A ransomware attack took a New Mexico jail offline, leaving inmates in lockdown. So last week there was like an Alberquerque area jail without access to its camera feeds and rendered automatic door mechanisms were unusable. Inmates were confined to their cells as a result, while technicians struggle to bring back systems online. So what do you guys have to think about this one?
Hmm.
They should
You
use
want to-
keys, like physical keys.
I think it's amazing that a hacker could get in and sabotage a jail to the point that everyone had to go into lockdown and solitary confinement.
That's actually just to prove that you can do it because it has no benefit for the hacker, just keeping them in.
Yeah.
You would think that critical systems inside a jail would not be online, right? And I get it, like it's only the camera system and they did lockdown just to be safe because they couldn't see anything, but still, like, you know, in Mr. Robot, there was a scene, spoiler, where Mr. Robot breaks someone out of jail by like shutting down the power grid and like opening up all the jail cells. And
Yeah.
it was always like, yeah, right, like that could ever happen. Evidently, maybe. Like maybe in this case, it wasn't that far-fetched. It's just very surprising.
But I agree with you. They should use keys. Smash it.
No, they had to use like actual manual keys to like go in and out of like cells and like the whole jail and everything.
Why do we act like keys are bad technology? Like we've been using keys for a long time. And I will remind you when Facebook or Meta
Oh my God.
had their DNS issue, they were locked out from all of their buildings and their data centers to the point that they couldn't go in to fix it because they didn't use keys. So
Keys are great.
moral of the story is keys.
Not digital keys, physical keys.
Yeah. This episode brought to you by keys.
Keys. They're awesome.
They work. Can't hack a key.
No, I mean, we have this. Not only are we like locking prisoners there, but it put them in legal consequence, right? This article talks about there's been a legal agreement with prisoner with a lawsuit that was settled, and now this lockdown potentially violates that. So there's consequences here besides just prisoners stuck in the jail for a few more hours.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, and it was the camera system, right? So it is an invasion of privacy, and there could be plenty of lawsuits saying that you displayed images of me that I didn't consent to and all that.
I'm wondering if it triggers something for the prisoners, like if they have been in lockdown, let's say for 48 hours, if that could trigger some lawsuit also.
Very possible. Depends what agreement they have, what promises they've made.
Yeah.
It's collective punishment and it's against the Geneva Convention.
Oh my God.
That is true. Under the Geneva Convention, I'm a sovereign citizen.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I have just the group for you.
Real sovereign citizens don't group together. They value their independence.
They virtually group together.
I gotta open the door.
Hey guys, so let's move on to story number 4. This is another very sad story for the Ukrainian government. The hackers bring down government sites in Ukraine, and they left a message saying, "Be afraid." They brought down dozens of Ukrainian government websites on Friday and posted a message on one of them, "Be afraid and expect the worst," a day after a breakdown in diplomatic talks between Russia and the West intended to forestall a threatened Russian invasion of the country. What do you guys have to say about this one?
Well, this one is much more aggressive. I think it's probably from one of the two parts, the arrangement. What do you think?
I mean, we've been saying for a long time that data breaches and ransomware attacks are pretty much acts of war, right? Like, if a lot of wars have been started because of economic sabotage, right? Sinking of ships and confiscating of ships. And like we've been talking about Russian hackers aggressively going after the US and Colonial Pipeline and REvil and all that stuff, right? And now we're seeing the buildup before Russia's planned invasion of Ukraine, with cyber attacks being the front line. And I think we're at the point where you have to recognize that a cyber attack is an actual attack, and it has real political and military consequences. And so, yeah, like we're seeing Russian hackers or Russian affiliated hackers that are going after Russia's current focus, which is trying to find a way to invade Ukraine.
Right, especially if they leave a message and that's specific.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Shu?
Yeah, I mean, this has been happening in Ukraine for years. At this point, if I was Ukraine, I would just shut down every computer and wipe it and reinstall everything. It's the level of attack on this was pretty extensive. There were a lot of sites and a lot of agencies that were taken down from this.
Yeah. And I think it was purely to sow chaos and fear. It probably was assets that Russian affiliated hackers already had, and they just decided to say, oh, okay, let's just take some of these assets and show everyone that they're already compromised.
Yeah.
So they took down the whole website and just left that message?
They took the site, they took all the data, they put that message up, and then they said they're going to leak the data.
They already did, apparently.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see, right? So.
Yeah.
That's one hard.
I mean, it begs the question. Begs the question.
No, it raises the question.
It raises the question that if a data leak is considered damaging enough as a precursor to war, then what do we do about all these other data leaks, right? Because on the one hand,
we apparently find companies pennies on a dollar for data leaks, and we don't care.
Yeah, on the one hand, we take it completely unseriously, and we let companies have a whole lot of leeway about what data gets leaked and the consequences of that. And then on the other hand, it's also an act of war. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little iffy.
Quite
think
the
it is.
discrepancy.
I think it is kind of a start to that, because they attacked especially one website, just leaving a very public message. So I do think it's just taking it one step farther.
interesting is like they said that they published the messages or whatever in 3 different languages. That is like Russian, Ukrainian, and Polish. And they're like, they raised a number of historical grievances between Poland and Ukraine, as in to like lead people to thinking that, oh, maybe Poland has to do with it. So what do you think about that approach? Because usually some of these like hackers are pretty,
No.
confident in their abilities.
No, I think the whole Polish thing is
It's
nonsense.
a distraction.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's nonsense.
Mhm.
No one is fooled
Right.
by this false flag.
Yeah.
This was Russian hackers against
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Damn you, Polish hackers!
Right, yes. It's not me, it's Polish.
It's you can see that right here.
Yes. Hello, fellow Polish comrade.
We do not like the pierogies you have. Hey guys, so this is the last story of the evening. And this is probably my favorite story because it happened very recently and it's about REvil, which is the notorious gang that has hacked and installed ransomware in a lot of like businesses. And REvil ransomware gang was arrested in Russia, and this is 6 hours ago. And they have dismantled the ransomware crime group, and they've seized like more than 426 million rubles, which is like 4 million pounds, and including almost 500,000 pounds worth of cryptocurrency. What do you guys have to say about this? And I think that's euros.
Do we believe this?
Yeah.
But...
I believe that some Russian hackers got arrested.
Yes, I agree with you.
I do not believe that all of REvil got arrested. But I do find it interesting that back in May, when Colonial Pipeline happened and the US was like, Russia, you need to go and arrest REvil. Russia was like, REvil? We don't know who that is. And then come January, they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna round them all up and throw them all in jail, right? Like, it seemed like they had a lot of intimate knowledge about who REvil was this week. Right?
6 hours ago.
Suddenly, they're like, "Oh, that REvil! Yeah, they're right there. We're gonna get them."
We'll go ahead and get them for you.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. So let's
Not for
believe.
the US, though. Not for the US, because no extradition.
No.
Yeah.
No. So they're gonna stay in a Russian country club prison for a few weeks, maybe.
Yeah. But I do agree with Steve. I'm not sure if it's everyone. And that cryptocurrency they found, that may be just small change. I'm sure there's a lot more to that.
Yeah, 440,000 pounds is nothing.
Yeah.
No, I think REvil was one of the billionaires club for ransomware. So
Yeah.
I think they had received at least $1 billion US dollars, and but they rounded up what, 20 people, and then they rounded up premium cars. So that raised questions. Is this like a premium car by worldwide standards, or is this like a premium Russian car? Because if this is like Vladimir 12, then I may be less impressed than if this is a bunch of Ducati.
Sputnik 12.
So I mean, this raised so many questions to me. Like, first of all, the articles I read didn't differentiate, didn't actually specifically say that these were REvil gang members or affiliates. So are they just affiliates? And if they're affiliates, who the fuck cares? And if this is legit, then like if this is Russia like genuinely arresting REvil gang members, then sorry, Ukraine, you're not getting into NATO anymore. So this definitely ties back to the story, right? Is this some sort of concession here?
Could be.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't see REvil being a trading piece here.
Mm.
What I think happens is REvil they brought on a lot of heat that Russia didn't like by hacking Colonial Pipeline. And I think they did it by accident. I think REvil is perfectly happy ransoming US businesses, but then they hit critical infrastructure and the US got pissed. And Russia didn't like that. And the rumor is allegedly that these Russian hackers are somewhat known or affiliated with the government. And as long as they don't go after Russian assets, they're fine. And so I think that REvil crossed a line and someone wanted to make an example out of them. And so they rounded up people and cars and money and right? I think this is the stick, right? Like if you don't stay in line, if you make trouble for Russia, you're going to go to jail. And I think this, is it real? Is it just all for show? Who knows?
It's like saying if you make trouble for Russia, Russia made trouble for you.
Exactly that.
I would not rule out the notion that they may be pawns in this. I think, but again, Steve, I think you might be onto something there. This is sort of the nature of this. We always draw parallels to privateering, and everything's fine and dandy, and government's going to look its way. But if you piss off the government, if you become too much a problem, the government's going to crack down on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in this gray area for a reason here.
It's a great analogy. It's like, pirates would operate out of the Bahamas, and as long as they didn't hit the ships related to the government in the Bahamas, they're fine, right? But once they hit like a Spanish vessel or whoever it was at the time, then that's going to bring in the military, and that's going to bring in all this heat. No one wants that, so you crack down on it, right? So I mean, we've been dealing with piracy for a long time, but I will remind you that privateers and pirates have started wars, right?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, that's all.
That's it.
Yes. So the lesson here is stock toilet paper and stock paper towels, because you know what's going to happen in a couple weeks.
A lot, Shu.
Shu, are you trying to cause panic buying?
Yes.
Oh,
Is this market manipulation again? Did you buy a bunch of toilet paper and you want to sell it on the black market?
the first part is true.
Second part yet to be seen.
Oh, we don't
I
want
might need it.
conversation, Shu.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Mhm.
This has been an episode of Bourbon and Data Breaches. If you like what you saw today, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you hated everything you saw today, you get what you pay for. So,
2 stars.
Yeah. It says right there, 2 stars. What do you want?
yeah.
I don't.
Hey, no, give us 5 stars. Give us all the stars.
5 stars.
Just do it. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.